Did you know that some animals can survive in temperatures colder than the surface of Mars? Welcome to the Arctic, a land where the sun disappears for months, where icy winds slice through the air like knives, and where every heartbeat means survival. If you love discovering nature's strangest survivors, make sure to hit subscribe, because what's coming next will blow your mind. In this frozen wilderness, life doesn't just exist, it defies the impossible. Here, predators walk across endless sheets of ice, searching for a single meal to survive another day. Beneath the frozen sea, invisible hunters glide silently in the dark. Above, birds fly thousands of miles only to return to a world made of ice and shadow. The Arctic isn't just cold, it's alive, unpredictable, and astonishingly beautiful. Every creature here is a masterpiece of evolution. Thick fur that traps heat like armor, blood that resists freezing, and instincts sharpened by centuries of survival. Imagine standing on a plain so white and endless that you can't tell where the sky ends and the ground begins. Somewhere out there, a polar bear prowls across the ice, following the scent of a seal hidden beneath the snow. An Arctic fox trails behind, hoping to steal leftovers, and beneath their feet, fish swim in water so cold it should be solid, yet they move as if it were springtime. So how do they do it? How does anything survive in a world where the air itself feels like death? Stay until the end, because the last creature you'll see today has a survival trick that seems almost supernatural. Welcome to the frozen wild. In the Arctic, one creature reigns above all others: the polar bear, the true ice king. Imagine walking across a frozen ocean, nothing but snow and silence for hundreds of miles. For the polar bear, that's home. It's not just built for survival, it's engineered for it. Under its pure white fur lies black skin that absorbs sunlight like a solar panel. Its fur isn't actually white. Each hair is transparent, trapping light and heat to keep it warm, even when temperatures drop below -40 degrees. And beneath that fur sits a 10-centimeter layer of fat, thick enough to keep out the deadly cold, like wearing a natural diving suit made by evolution itself. But this king doesn't rule without challenges. Every hunt is a gamble. It can smell a seal from over 30 kilometers away, yet might wander for days without finding one. When it finally catches a seal, it eats as if tomorrow doesn't exist, because in the Arctic sometimes it doesn't. Picture this: a massive male polar bear standing over 2 meters tall, smashing through the ice with its paws, waiting at a breathing hole where a seal might appear. It waits. For hours. For days. Patience is its greatest weapon. When the moment comes, it strikes faster than you'd believe. A silent flash of white fur and frozen power. But the Arctic is changing. The sea ice, once the foundation of the bear's world, is melting faster each year. Some bears now swim over 100 kilometers in search of ice strong enough to rest on. Mothers carry their cubs across vast stretches of open water, fighting exhaustion just to survive. And yet, they endure. Because the Ice King doesn't surrender easily. It adapts. It learns. It waits. For the cold to return. For the hunt to continue. In a world where even giants are struggling to survive, the polar bear remains a symbol of power, patience, and the fragile balance of life in the frozen wild. If the polar bear is the king of ice, then the Arctic fox is the silent trickster of the tundra. Small, clever, and almost magical in the way it survives. This tiny creature weighs barely 3 kilograms, but don't let that fool you. It lives where few animals dare to walk, across frozen plains where winds howl at 50 degrees Celsius and food is scarcer than sunlight. While the polar bear rules with strength, the fox survives with adaptation. Its most famous power? It changes its entire coat with the seasons. In winter, it turns pure white, blending perfectly into the snow, invisible to predators and prey alike. But when summer arrives and the snow melts into muddy tundra, it transforms again, its fur shifting to brown and gray, melting into the shadows of the rocks. It's like nature's version of a shape-shifting ninja. But camouflage isn't its only trick. The Arctic fox has a super hearing ability. It can detect tiny lemmings moving beneath thick layers of snow. When it hears the faintest rustle, it leaps high into the air and dives nose first, breaking through the snow to snatch its meal in one lightning-fast strike. Imagine that. A puff of white fur exploding from the snow like a snowball with teeth. Still, in the Arctic, survival isn't a solo act. Sometimes the fox follows behind polar bears, scavenging leftovers from their kills. It's patient, opportunistic, and never wastes energy. Even when food runs out, the fox can lower its metabolism and survive on stored fat for weeks. And when temperatures drop beyond freezing, its fur, the warmest of any animal in the Arctic, keeps it snug and safe, even as the world around turns to ice. In this frozen realm, size doesn't always mean strength. The Arctic fox proves that survival belongs not to the biggest or the fiercest, but to the smartest. And just when you think nature can't get more creative, wait until you meet the next Arctic traveler, one that migrates across entire continents in search of life: the reindeer. In the endless white plains of the Arctic, herds of reindeer move like rivers of life flowing through snow. Thousands of hooves thunder softly across the frozen ground, carving paths through blizzards and silence. They are the nomads of ice, travelers born to chase the seasons. Every year, reindeer embark on one of the greatest migrations on Earth. Over 5,000 kilometers of snow, ice, and tundra, the longest journey of any land mammal. They follow the rhythm of the sun, searching for food hidden beneath the snow. The precious lichen, a plant that clings to rocks and ice like green frost. It's their lifeline, their only meal during the cruelest months of winter. But what makes these travelers true Arctic survivors is their incredible adaptation. Their hooves change shape with the seasons. In summer, when the ground is soft and muddy, their hooves become spongy, perfect for gripping wet earth. But when winter comes, the pads shrink and harden, turning into sharp edges that can cut through ice and dig for food buried beneath the snow. Every step is a masterpiece of engineering, made by evolution, perfected by survival. And that's not all. Their fur is hollow, trapping warm air like a layer of insulation, keeping them warm even when the wind freezes everything it touches. Their noses can warm the air before it enters their lungs. And their eyes? They literally change color with the seasons, golden in summer, blue in winter, to adapt to the extreme light and darkness of the Arctic sun. But migration is never easy. Predators follow them: wolves, foxes, even eagles waiting for weak calves. Snowstorms strike without warning. Still, the herd moves, unstoppable, unbroken, united. When you see a reindeer crossing the tundra, you're watching one of nature's greatest endurance stories, a living symbol of strength, loyalty, and the unyielding spirit of life in the frozen wild. And if you thought walking across ice was tough, wait until you dive beneath it, because the next survivor lives where even water turns to glass. The Arctic char. Beneath the icy surface of the Arctic's frozen lakes, where sunlight barely reaches and the water is colder than ice itself, lives a creature that shouldn't exist at all. The Arctic char. Imagine a world of silence and glass, where everything moves in slow motion. The water here hovers just above freezing, cold enough to kill almost anything that breathes. And yet, in this frozen darkness, the Arctic char glides effortlessly, shimmering like a ghost of the ice. What makes this fish so extraordinary isn't its beauty, it's its biology. While most fish would freeze solid in seconds, the Arctic char's blood contains special antifreeze proteins, microscopic shields that stop ice crystals from forming inside its body. In other words, it's a living, swimming miracle of chemistry. During the endless Arctic summer, when the ice melts and the light returns, the char migrates upstream to spawn. Thousands of them push against icy currents, returning to the same rivers where they were born. A journey of instinct and survival repeated for centuries. But when winter comes and the lakes seal shut once again, they slow their heartbeat, reduce their energy, and drift into a state so still it looks like sleep. Some scientists call them time travelers of ice because they can survive months without eating, moving, or even seeing light. Their silver-blue scales reflect the faint light under the ice, making them nearly invisible to predators. A perfect design for a world where being seen means being eaten. It's almost poetic. In a place where life shouldn't exist, the Arctic char doesn't just survive, it thrives, quietly rewriting the rules of biology. And as the ice thickens above them, they continue to swim in near-frozen water, calm, ancient, unstoppable. They are proof that even in the coldest corners of the planet, life finds a way. But deep beneath the same ice sheets, another Arctic survivor lurks, one that can hold its breath for half an hour and carve air holes into solid ice with its teeth. Meet the master diver of the frozen sea, the seal. Beneath the frozen skin of the Arctic Ocean, in a world of darkness and crushing cold, moves one of nature's most skilled survivors, the seal. To live here is to live on the edge of breath itself. While humans would freeze within minutes, seals glide beneath the ice like shadows, graceful, calm, and perfectly built for the impossible. A seal can hold its breath for up to 30 minutes while diving beneath the ice, searching for fish in water colder than death. Its heart slows down, muscles store oxygen, and blood flow focuses only on vital organs, a biological trick that lets it stay underwater far longer than most mammals its size. When you see one rise to the surface, it's not just for air. It's a calculated moment of survival. But how do they breathe in a world covered by ice? That's where their intelligence shines. Seals use their teeth and claws to carve breathing holes through the frozen sea, returning to the same tiny spots over and over, even as storms rage above. They remember every location, like a map drawn in instinct. Without those air holes, they would die within minutes. Sometimes, polar bears wait silently beside those holes, turning the ocean's breath into a deadly trap. The seal knows this. It surfaces cautiously, eyes wide, scanning the white silence before daring to inhale. Every breath is a gamble, life or death decided in seconds. But despite the danger, seals thrive. Their thick blubber insulates them from the cold, and their sleek bodies cut through the icy water with effortless grace. Even their whiskers are survival tools, sensitive enough to detect the faint vibrations of fish swimming nearby in total darkness. When the Arctic storms rage and the world turns white, the seal dives back into its quiet kingdom below, where the only sound is the rhythm of its heartbeat echoing through the deep. It's not just surviving, it's mastering the ice. And while the seal lives beneath the ice, another predator rules above it, silent, ghostly, and watching from the sky. Meet the Arctic's airborne assassin, the snowy owl. High above the endless white tundra, where the wind screams and shadows stretch for miles, a pair of golden eyes pierces the storm. This is the snowy owl, the ghost of the Arctic sky, silent, precise, and built for survival in a world of ice and silence. Its feathers, pure white with flecks of gray, blend perfectly with the snow. To the untrained eye, it's invisible, but to its prey, it's death from above. When a snowy owl hunts, there's no warning, no sound, no chance. Its wings are built with microscopic fringes that cancel sound completely. It flies like a whisper across the frozen air, and when it strikes, it's already too late. With vision 10 times sharper than a human's, it can spot a lemming moving under snow from over 200 meters away. Even in darkness, those golden eyes reflect every hint of light, turning night into a canvas of movement and opportunity. It doesn't hunt for sport, only survival. In a land where food is rare, every kill counts, and every miss means hunger. But survival here isn't just about hunting, it's about endurance. When blizzards roll across the tundra, the owl hunkers down, using its thick feathers like armor. Its entire body is insulated, even its legs covered in down, turning it into a floating ball of warmth in the middle of the storm. And when the Arctic summer returns, the snowy owl changes its role, from hunter to guardian. It builds its nest on open ground, not in trees, defending its chicks with fierce bravery. Even polar bears have learned to avoid an angry owl protecting its young. To watch a snowy owl glide through a blizzard is to witness the spirit of the Arctic itself, calm, focused, unstoppable. In silence, it commands the sky. In hunger, it defines survival. But what if survival meant something even stranger, not warmth, not flight, but coming back from the dead? Up next is the Arctic's most unbelievable survivor, a creature that freezes solid, heart stopped, body frozen stiff, then wakes up in spring as if nothing happened. The woolly bear caterpillar. Deep in the Arctic tundra, where temperatures drop so low that even breath turns to ice, lives one of nature's strangest creatures, the woolly bear caterpillar. At first glance, it looks ordinary, a small, fuzzy worm, slowly crawling across the moss. But what this tiny insect does to survive is something straight out of science fiction. When winter arrives, the temperature falls to 70 degrees Celsius, far below what almost any living thing can endure. The caterpillar doesn't hide. It doesn't run. It simply stops. Its body freezes completely. Its heart stops beating. Its blood turns to ice and every cell becomes still. It's dead. Or so it seems. But here's the miracle. The woolly bear isn't dying. It's waiting. Hidden inside its frozen body are special chemicals, like natural antifreeze, that prevent ice from shattering its cells. It can stay frozen for months, then thaw back to life when spring returns. Not once, not twice, but every single year, for up to 14 years straight. Each summer, it wakes, eats for a few weeks, grows a little, and when the cold returns, freezes again. It repeats this cycle over and over until, one final spring, it has enough energy to build a cocoon and transform into a moth. That's right. This tiny Arctic insect literally survives more winters than most animals will ever experience in their lifetime. Scientists call it a time traveler of the tundra because it spends over a decade frozen in ice, then emerges alive, wings spread, ready to start the next generation. Imagine a creature so patient, it waits more than 10 years just to live for a few days, to fly, to mate, to continue its story. That's not just survival, that's defiance. In the Arctic, where giants fall and predators fade, this little caterpillar proves something extraordinary. You don't have to be big to be strong. You just have to never give up. And that is the spirit of the Arctic. It's from mighty predators to tiny frozen survivors, the Arctic is more than just ice and snow. It's proof that life can thrive even in the harshest places on Earth. Every heartbeat, every breath, every frozen moment tells a story of endurance, adaptation, and pure will to live. Think about it. The polar bear walks miles across melting ice, hunting for survival. The Arctic fox changes its color to disappear into the snow. The reindeer travels farther than any land mammal on the planet. The Arctic char swims in water that should kill it. The seal breathes through ice itself. The snowy owl hunts in silence, and the woolly bear caterpillar freezes to death, then comes back to life. This is not just survival. This is nature rewriting the rules of life. It's a reminder that even in the coldest, darkest corners of our planet, there's still movement, hope, and wonder. Nature never stops surprising us, and neither should we. If you love exploring the wildest, strangest sides of nature, hit that subscribe button, because next time, we're going even deeper into the creatures that live inside volcanoes. You think surviving ice is tough? Wait until you see what survives fire. Which Arctic survivor shocked you the most? Tell me in the comments below, and don't forget to share this video with someone who loves discovering the hidden magic of nature. Until next time, stay curious, stay wild, and remember, in nature, even the coldest hearts can still beat.